Are you making one of the 6 most common targeting mistakes? Let's talk about that today. Make sure to check out the related blog post at johnloomer.com/targeting. So the first mistake is improper use of exclusions. Now this could go 2 different ways. First of all, you're promoting a product and you want to make sure that people who have already bought that thing, that if you can't sell it twice, don't see your ad. There's no reason to waste your money on those people. First of all, yes, you better exclude those people who already bought the product, but oftentimes advertisers will be satisfied with using one custom audience to exclude them. And the reality is that one custom audience may only cover a section of those people. So what I will do is exclude them in every single way possible because there are multiple custom audiences created based on that conversion. So an example would be if I'm promoting the subscription for beginners, I've got a website custom audience based on the confirmation page. I have a customer list custom audience based on their email address and contact information. And I have an engagement custom audience if I also ran lead forms to promote that as well, which I have. So there's 3 different ways to make it as complete as possible. Along those lines, though, I think advertisers can take it too far. For example, they insist on running a prospecting campaign which only goes to new people. So not just people who haven't bought that from them before, bought that specific product, but anyone who's on their email list, no one who's visited their website, anyone who's engaged with their stuff. They want to have a completely fresh, new audience. Now, the problem with that is if you completely remove those people, you're removing the easiest people to sell to. So again, this is assuming we're talking about a situation where we want to exclude the people who already bought this product because they can't buy it again. But that doesn't mean we throw out everybody who's bought from us before or everybody who's on our email list. We want to reach those people too. But if you separate those people, which is usually what happens, they have a prospecting ad set and a remarketing ad set. What you do is you increase your costs because that remarketing ad set is going to be much smaller, much more restrictive. And as a result of that, frequencies, CPMs, costs to reach these people are going to go sky high in your remarketing, where you could have just included them in the initial ad set and just not exclude them. The next mistake is expansion ignorance. So what I mean by that is they just don't even understand that the inputs they're providing only go so far. They're just a starting point in almost all cases now. So for example, if you're using Advantage Plus Audience, any of the targeting you provide is a mere suggestion. So yeah, you could put in some targeting information, demographics and whatnot, but don't waste a whole lot of time worrying about that because Meta's going to go beyond that group of people anyway. Even if you use the original audience options, which you have to do some extra clicking to get there and get past some warnings where Meta's going to tell you could get up to 33% lower cost per result if you used the new way. But even if you use the old way, and if you're optimizing for any type of conversion or even a link click or landing page view now, if you use detailed targeting, Meta tells you we may deliver ads beyond your audiences for your selected objective. So again, it's not that this is necessarily bad. It's that many advertisers think the inputs they are providing are more important than they are. These are in one case a mere suggestion, and in the second case a formality, because Meta can still go well beyond that group to get you your desired action. The next mistake is you're going too narrow when optimizing for a conversion. Now, of course, it is actually difficult to go narrow these days, but one way you could do that would be using the original audience options, targeting a custom audience, and turning off Advantage Custom Audience. So the problem here is when you get too narrow with a conversion, you're driving up your costs, you're driving up CPMs and frequency, when in reality, you're probably putting too much value in your inputs. The algorithm will find these people for you. They start with your pixel activity, conversion history, engagement with your ads anyway, if you're using Advantage Plus Audience or Advantage Plus Shopping. So when they think, oh, going broad is crazy, it's not really entirely going broad. It's already starting with a remarketing audience, even though you don't really even know it. So if you were to use Advantage Plus Audience instead, basically what happens is they start with that built-in remarketing audience without you putting in any inputs. But also what's most important is your performance goal and that conversion event, because the algorithm is going to do everything to get you as many of that action as possible within your budget. The next mistake is overdoing demographic granularity. So this again goes back to probably the way we did things years ago. You wanted to help the algorithm be more efficient. Either you perform breakdowns to see who were the people who were performing these conversions, or you've just defined in your own mind they're men or women between the ages of 35 and 44, and you want to target just those people. When you do that, you are restricting the algorithm. If you were to keep that wide open, so both men and women and all ages, and you're optimizing for conversion, the algorithm will learn. It's not going to waste a whole bunch of money on people who aren't likely to convert. That's part of its whole goal, is to make that more efficient. So if you restrict it by saying only women between the ages of 35 and 44, now assuming that's the old targeting methods, because otherwise with Advantage Plus Audience, those controls aren't quite as restrictive, you're again limiting the possibilities for conversions. They may happen outside that very strict range as well. On the flip side, one more mistake is that you can be too broad for top of the funnel. Now I know this sounds like a contradiction based on everything I've said up until this point, but there is an exception. Going broad is really effective when you're optimizing for any type of conversion. It fails miserably if you optimize for anything top of the funnel. There is an argument out there that you really shouldn't even be wasting your time with post engagement or link clicks, traffic, any of that stuff, because it is so flawed. But if you go broad, if you don't restrict your targeting while you're optimizing for top of the funnel, you're going to reach anybody and everybody who is willing to click, engage, or do any of these things. So a classic example is a clothing brand for women, typically 35 to 44, and you're going to showcase the new fashion line. What's going to happen when you do that? You're going to get all kinds of men hopping in there to engage with it. And then the algorithm learns, oh, you wanted engagement, you wanted clicks, and it's going to start showing it to more and more men when none of these people are going to buy from you. And the final mistake is creating too many ad sets for cold targeting. There was a time when doing what we have here on the screen made sense. You have different ad sets for different lookalike audience groups, different ad sets for interest groups. Then you even had an ad set that combined lookalikes and interest. That was the standard way of cold targeting back in the day, is you split test and whatnot, find what works, what doesn't. The problem is, once again, if you're using Advantage Plus Audience, if you're optimizing for any type of conversion, these targeting groups are only a starting point, because it's just a targeting suggestion when it's Advantage Plus Audience. And when you've got targeting expansion on, which you can't turn off when optimizing for a conversion, we don't really know how much of that result is due to your input and how much of it is due to the expansion. So the result is going to be you're going to have all kinds of overlap. You're going to end up getting warnings from Meta about auction overlap, about audience segmentation. You can bet that if the optimization is the same, the performance goal is the same, the creative is the same, after Meta gets beyond that initial suggestion of targeting, it's going to go after the same group of people in all 6 of these ad sets, or however many you do. So there's really no reason to overdo it with all these different ad sets, combine them when it's cold targeting. And guess what? That's what we're seeing right now with Advantage Plus Shopping. You don't even get an option of creating multiple ad sets for that reason. There's just no advantage. And for all we know, this is the direction we're going. We're going to see more campaigns like Advantage Plus Shopping where that's not even a possibility to create these ad sets. So start doing things the way that Meta recommends, and honestly, the way that is more than likely the most efficient. All right, so once again, make sure to check out my blog post on this at johnlimber.com/targeting. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed this one and found it useful.